Alright, so just finished drawing up the flat straps that are going to go over the top of the fuel cell. It's going to have a couple bends here and then a bend here, and this is going to be the back mount, that's going to be the front mount. The bigger hole is basically going to show the stamp of the dimple die. The center 3/4 inch hole is actually going to be what's going to be cut out. So now I need to delete all the bigger holes. That's going to be our actual cut pattern, and then I'm going to show you guys us cutting it out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Travis Bronistries. What's up, guys? So we are back on the Nova. I believe we already did a couple little clips cutting this out, which I'm going to insert after this, but here's where we're at. Here is our fuel cell, basically like a cradle. It's 1/8 inch plate. We've cut it out on plasma table, folded it up, and then we did these straps, which they're going to bolt down here on the front, which they apply just a little bit of down pressure once you tighten them. But we're gonna do kind of like a Z-bend here and bolt it down to the top of the frame rail. So Michael's gonna go ahead and throw our 15-gallon fuel cell in here in place, and then we're gonna start doing the bends on these, getting these fully bolted down. So the fuel cell is gonna be 100% bolted down. We have a little bit more welding to do where our relief bends are, just to kind of tighten it up a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and get the fuel cell completely mounted, and then we're gonna move on to getting the rear end degrees in place and getting the coilovers mocked up in place, ready to have the rear end in its final position. So let's get at it. All right, so we are doing just a little bit more of rust removal. Here inside the quarter panels, you can see it's just completely rotted out and rusted. There was these cover panels, which that's one of them right there, I already got out. I'm in the middle of working on this side, which I cut all the tacks and got all the screws out, so I have it loose, but it is welded in the back here, and I'm just doing it really easily so I don't burn through the outside sheet metal. So it's just a little tedious, but we are going to completely rebuild all the internal structure and just get rid of all that rotting. So this side I did already drop out and kind of already threw it away. So All right, so I don't know if any of you watched the fuel cell video on my pre-runner, but we have more of that same matting that is basically going to be a rubber barrier in between the aluminum fuel cell and the steel mounting panels. So we are basically laying down, it's about an eighth of an inch sheet of rubber with an adhesive on the back, just so that way it's not sitting there steel to aluminum just chafing forever. That's how you end up getting like fuel cells that come out later down the road and they just really look like crap. So we got half a piece there. We're about to cut one more sheet right here. You can see it's got the paper with the adhesive underneath. This stuff is really cool. So we're gonna cut this last little cut, stick it on the other side, and then we're ready to drop the fuel cell in the Nova. That's heavy. So good. We're gonna bolt it down real quick and then I'll show you guys what it's gonna look like. Alright, so check this out, guys. We threw on our B, TIG welded some B's on there just to have a little bit of our logo on there. So at the car show, he pops the trunk and this is what you're gonna see. Obviously we're gonna have it all sheet melded and finished, but this is gonna be kind of the main visual point when you see at the car show. It's gonna look real nice, sexy, clean finish. Turned out really nice. So we do have the axle 100% welded now. Everything is basically welded, ready to go back under the car. So that is the completed rear end. We do have to run brake lines. We might put a couple little brake line tabs on here still, so we're not quite gonna paint it yet. But for the most part, the axle, the suspension, everything is set up and kind of ready to go. You guys did see a quick time lapse of me TIG welding up the track bar, or some people call it the panhard bar. But this is the diagonal link bar that's going inside the front 4-link suspension. You guys will see it once we get it in place on the car. So we did add a little bit more basically beauty cover plates, basically boxing in our 4-link mounts. A couple on the front, couple on the back. Let me jump around, and we added this gusset in the middle here just to basically tie everything in together, fully box everything, make it really strong and stout. This is the front of it, basically boxing off the front on each side. So, and then we do have our panhard bar or track bar or sideways link bar. I don't know, we keep finding all these different names and terms for them online. But basically that is in, that is sleeved, that is TIG welded up. All of our arms are sleeved, TIG welded up. Everything is basically in place. Our suspension is basically finalized. We do have our coilover mounts, our tabs up there fully welded up. The kit did come with these basically little eye bracket tubes. They replicate the ride height of the coilover, so it's a much shorter length. It's basically where once the weight of the car is on, that's where it's going to sit eye to eye. So we've been using those for all of our mock-up, which makes it really nice. We're able to just basically dial in ride height and just basically get it exactly where it needs to be. Another little trick that I'm going to throw in the video here, we did take a piece of tube and we sleeved it over our axles, which is basically truing up, making sure our axles, everything are centered as if the third member is in here. We didn't want to go and fully assemble the axle because we are still welding on everything, so we didn't want our spider gears or anything arcing out during welding. So we did this to basically be able to get our tires on, our track width, you know, measure center of axle to outside of body, just to make sure everything is completely centered and straight. So that allowed everything to basically sleeve in and lock in place, so that way everything stays straight. As well as up here, we do have our couple frame support bars in, fully welded in. They are hugged up to the top of the frame, so when we layer sheet metal, they're going to act as frame like floor supports. And we are still going to add a couple more on the sides here. Let me jump back up. All right, back up here to the top, you can see our couple bars we threw in here. They are flushed up, so when we go and run our sheet metal, we're going to start at this tubing. We're going to lay it on the top and be able to weld our seams on the edges here, but everything's going to lay flush. And then right here in the top of our crest for our frame, we have another bar there, which is going to allow us to roll our sheet metal all the way down. So we don't have anything in front of that because that is where the center of the pumpkin, everything's going to go. And right here where our seat bracket is, nothing's ever going to get put on or anything further, so that's just going to be sheet metal, basically sealing off the interior again. But that's basically going to be wrapped for this chunk of the build. That's going to be the end of video 2. Next, we're going to start working on all the sheet metal. We basically have the frame section done, we have the suspension done, everything's fully welded, everything's ready to go. Now we're basically, oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, we did cap our frame rails. We shorted them down. We started designing up our bumper mount, so that's going to be coming in the next video as well. We do have to order some new inner bumper structure brackets that are on the sides, and then we are going to basically make mounts that go on the inside of those where the bolts are. So we did start doing that as well, which we will complete that in the next video. But don't forget to check out our merch. You have any questions, comments, anything, put them in the comments. Don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel. All the support helps. Until the next video, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys.
Later, guys.